Boom. Here we are. Here we
Stop.
are.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. It's karaoke. I was going to say karaoke night, but it's 9 a.m. over here, so. Dub.
Because it's night somewhere else.
Is it karaoke all day, every day in the Dub casa?
For me, if there's a song in my head, I will sing it in my house just because I feel like it. And I'll sing it all day.
Out loud.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yesterday, bro, I was singing the same song. I'll be like, I told my little brother when he did something, I'll be like, stop, wait a minute. He'd be like, bro, you're wild. I'll be doing weird shit like that. I mean, weird stuff like that. I'm sorry, Jay.
God, Dub. Wow. Bro, you cannot listen, I swear. It's insane. All right, before we get too far, let's take a minute to recognize the members. Also, really quick, Discord plug, because we just hit 1,500 members in the Discord, Players Choice Discord. It is free. If you're not in the Discord, it's going 24/7. It's ridiculous. If you want to keep the conversations going, make sure you join the Discord. Get in there, get involved. Shout out to all the regular and elite members: Joe Young, Bait, K-Dog, Odd Malik, Dorian Clayton, 40KOW, Nick T, Jagars, Underworld, MC Robinson, Kenyon White, Big Meech, James Goz, 123, and King J. Fellas, what up? What up? JD's
what's happening?
That's fire.
What's good?
Intro our guest, JD.
Huh?
I said intro our guest.
He's not a guest. He's always been part of Players Choice.
J-Rob's.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
He's on Gridiron.
Yeah, I'm on Gridiron. Yeah, I'm on Gridiron.
I actually wouldn't have known that if I didn't tune in one time, like a couple weeks ago, where I saw him. I was like, oh, this is
Look at me expose myself as a PC casual.
Hey, I mean, technically, he is a guest though. He is a guest to Players.
Yeah,
Choice.
I am a guest here.
So if you do not watch Gridiron, J-Rob, shout out to J-Rob. J-Rob, what's good, bro?
What's good, man? How you doing? Glad to be here.
Dylan, man. How's your basketball knowledge?
Dale? I'll be honest, my basketball knowledge is pretty tough, man. I wouldn't come up here if I couldn't handle it.
For sure, because you already know what goes on here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even I got a pro athlete that's a basketball player that I'm around a lot. So she be checking me, but I think my knowledge is even better than hers sometimes.
Chat,
whether she's pro or not.
Chat, you hear that? A little we're not the same moment. It's always we are not the same on Players Choice. Yeah, where is Dell? Oh, Dell's getting ready for TBT. They have a game tomorrow. They've got I think they've already started the finals games, not finals games, quarterfinals games.
Thank you.
That's gonna be fire. I saw that game last night.
And if you give me 2 seconds, I will find out.
Where's it at?
It's
at Dayton, right?
Mm-hmm.
How far is that from
How long has TBT been around? Like, I've been watching it consistently, but I don't know, like, when did it first start?
I think it's been about 7 years.
7 years? Yeah, I was about to say maybe something like that.
6 or 7.
7. Oh, okay. Never mind. So the championship week does start officially tomorrow. Dell actually, their game's the first game tomorrow on ESPN2, 7 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, ESPN2. That's July 28th. Fire. Jack, you're making me nervous. You're a little too calm.
Why?
I don't know. When you start the show like this, you just always make me nervous.
I usually win the shows when I start the show like this.
Yeah, that is true. A little storm brewing over there.
I got my money on Dub.
We need Ron back.
Dub's gonna win the show?
There's no way.
Dub's been winning for a minute now, back to back.
See, yeah, wait,
Tell
hold
him,
up,
Dub.
yo.
Tell him,
Wait, hold
Dub.
up. Well, no, yo. You see what Jay just said?
What'd he say?
Jay, repeat what you just said earlier, and you wonder why people think you hate me.
Who, me?
Yeah, you said, "Oh, he's not gonna win."
Yeah, absolutely not, because you got the kryptonite. You have the kryptonite today. This isn't
Who's the
Henny.
kryptonite?
This isn't Henny
Wait,
Dub.
when's the last episode Dub won?
Oh man. I don't know. I don't
The
even
Henny
keep
Dub episode. I mean, Ron for sure, but I'm
don't even
gonna
think
give
it was
him. I'm gonna
close.
give him Cole Finals MVPs.
track. Thank you, appreciate you.
You know,
Dub
and
put
then the
up a
one
lot of
before that
points.
for sure.
But I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even keep track of any of that. That's for y'all to decide.
Dub, I keep
just
track,
come
and
out
you
here.
come in last a lot.
That's
Jay,
a,
get
that's a
hell
thing of
out.
the past.
That's a lie. That is a lie.
I fully converted to a double-holic.
Wow,
Thank
bro,
you,
you're not
yo.
even part of the Eurosteppers anymore.
I've never been a Eurostepper. I was a Martian before.
Yo, what?
What changed? What
new.
changed? Why'd you leave?
I changed,
Crazy.
Mars. I
Yeah,
changed. Bro. I got
that's
here. I
that's right.
changed.
That's right.
Wow.
You know you
Is this
have
the new narrative
what?
that Dub like wins shows now?
It's not a narrative if it happens.
Exactly. It's been happening pretty frequently, Shaquille. Hashtag free Shaq's chest.
Yo,
Really quick, because I just got a DM, or someone DM'd us on Player's Choice, but it was a good DM. He said, I was just listening to episode 139 where he talked about anxiety, and I'd just like to say that really helped me. So thank you so much for discussing such an important issue. I've just started listening to your show this year, and I really enjoy it. So thank you guys. That's dope. Great message. Shout out to you, man. I don't want to say your name just in case you don't want me
Damn, I
saying your
remember
name on the
that
show, but
episode.
we appreciate you,
That's
man.
fire, bro. I'm happy that everything's turning around for you, man.
Mhm.
For real.
Word.
Dope.
what
We
about
talk,
me?
We talk about the important topics up here. You know, when everyone gets
Mhm.
mad at us not talking about basketball, and then we get messages like that. Bozos. Chat, I'm looking at you. Shaq, what about you?
Anybody gonna ask me how my week's going?
Probably not.
How's your week going, Shaq? I want to know.
Shaq, come on, bro. What are we doing?
All right, let's move on then.
No,
Dub,
no,
you wanna
let's hear
go
it.
show?
Let's hear it.
move on.
No, come on.
Let's hear about your week.
Let's hear it. 2 Chains.
3.
Okay, 3 Chains.
Hey, welcome to Wakanda.
Yo, that trailer was so
Fire.
Do you know I've heard everybody say how great this trailer was, and you know when that happens and you haven't seen it yet, whether it be a movie or listening to a song or whatever, and then you actually get to watch it, and it's like the expectation is just so much greater than what the actual like visual or audio that
You
you
guys
get.
all
Don't
did that
put
to the
that
first
energy
one.
out there, Euro. Please don't put that energy out there.
No, I'm not. No. I think it's going to be a phenomenal movie regardless, because I'm a like block everybody out until I actually see it. But what I'm saying is like I was expecting, you know, I don't know, something other than that. I was just already pacified by everybody's excitement, you know.
Yeah, I feel you. I was a little
Black
bit
Panther
worried.
was some mid, the first one.
Wow.
Really good mid.
What?
I'm not
Wow.
gonna lie. I wouldn't call it mid, but I do think there was, because of like the time that it came out, and obviously it was like the superhero black film. Like we did give it a lot of praise, but I do think like if you watch it now, it's really not as like crazy.
It's pretty
as,
regular.
Yeah, it's not as crazy as what you think. I actually think the best part of the film was Michael B. Jordan's portrayal of Killmonger. I think that was
Yes.
the best part of the film.
For
Mhm.
sure, for sure.
You know what's crazy, Shaq, is I'd get crucified if I came up here and said that.
And there's
I
some
don't-
things I would get
imagine-
crucified if I
yo,
said vice
imagine-
versa.
Nah,
Imagine
I
if I
think
came
I
up
think
here
I
and
know
said that.
what I don't think is mid though, Shaq. I think what like the expectation that Euro was talking about. I remember when I went into watching it for the first time, I expected it to like change my whole life, like change my whole thought process about like everything. But then I watched the movie, I was sitting there like, no, this is a pretty good movie. It didn't change my life in any way, but it was definitely not mid.
So
is
what
it is it
mid?
top 5 of the
Oh, no,
Marvel
no.
joints?
No.
Nah, no way.
That's
Nah.
yeah, that's
So-
wild to me. I got that at
Is
3.
it
Whoa.
is it towards the mid?
It's
Dub?
top 10. I'll give it
Dub?
top 10 for
Top
sure.
10 for sure. Top 10 for
Top
sure.
10, and it's about 20 new movies that have came out in the past
And
what,
they're
5
all,
years.
and those are all mid.
Like the problem is like Guardians of the Galaxy clears Black
Mm.
Panther volume
Both
one
of
and volume 1 and 2. Like, I think they're both better. That's
One
personal.
for sure clears easily.
Clears easily.
not
The
sure
second
about
one, I
volume
think
There's
the
a
second
lot
one
of
was
movies that clear. Doctor Strange clears.
clears. I mean,
I don't think
obviously,
Doctor Strange
obviously,
clears.
Endgame clears for sure.
Endgame, you got
Infinity
the
Wars
Avengers.
clears
Yeah, you got
I
Infinity
think
War, Civil
Yo,
War.
what's the one? The the
Shang-Chi.
clears.
No,
I haven't seen it. I
no,
haven't seen it. I'm not
Clears.
gonna
no,
lie. I
no.
There's
haven't
The
a
seen
lot
only
it.
of
ones,
Marvel
the only
movies.
ones to me that clears is Infinity Wars and Ragnarok.
Ragnarok clears for sure. Ragnarok definitely
Dang,
clears.
Euro. That's
Damn,
it.
not Civil War. Civil War was fire, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna be
it's fire
honest.
because of
I'm gonna
Black
be
Panther.
honest, bro. I'm gonna be honest, bro.
Uh,
Like I can't feel the same way about Civil War because that's one of my like favorite comic book strips of all time. And because they haven't introduced enough characters in the series, like, yo, Civil War is supposed to be insanity, yo. Like, I just think it's not as. It was okay. Like it was maybe top 10, but
it
I
wasn't
can't.
as big as it was supposed to be, right? Or
Yo,
as
it's
it
just
was in the comics.
yeah. Like that's the problem with it. Like Secret Wars when that comes out in like 2025, like Secret Wars is gonna change our lives.
Yo, what makes Black Panther so good? Like the first one.
You mean like his appearance in Civil War?
No. I'm talking about the actual Black Panther movie.
I'm not gonna lie, his appearance did make it better than what Civil War 2. I will agree with you on that.
So for me, I think that because I followed that closely, right? Like from when they first announced it, I followed like everything that Ryan Coogler was talking about, like production, like all the little, Comic-Con things or whatever. I never have done that with any movie. And so anything that they put into it, from the selection of the costumes and how they try to fuse, traditional African and like, different like, areas of the continent and kind of like put that together to make something, but also that resonates with, Africans of the diaspora that aren't from Africa, like that aren't, native. No, I don't want to say native to Africa, but you know what I'm saying? Like part of the like the Americans, the Caribbeans, the like everything like that. And so like I do understand like that. From my understanding, there's a lot of African people that were like, this is like bootleg because of this is not how we dress, this is not how we talk. They had an issue with Chadwick Boseman's accent and everything like that. I haven't spoken to anybody, but just what I heard in terms of like the critique online and stuff like that. So I understand why people are not rocking with it like that. But to me, I think the thought that goes into something like that to make an effort to try to bring everybody together as far as like, the African diaspora, I thought that was fire.
Yeah,
Then
I
make
agree with
it
that
super
part.
and then make it super modern. TDE did the whole soundtrack. The way that they look, it wasn't, I mean, it was just fire to me, man. Killmonger, especially, you know what I mean? From the way his hair was, you know what I mean? And him rocking the bottom golds and like everything like that, man. I just thought it was crazy.
He
Yeah,
stole the show. He definitely stole the
yeah,
show.
come
for
on.
sure.
That's because he was right. Like he was right.
I gotta
It
be
was.
careful with
It,
saying that because I stay saying shit like that. But
I mean, it is a clear Malcolm X, Martin Luther King dynamic in that movie.
yes,
It's clearly.
yes.
I mean, come on now. But Marvel been that way forever. Like the X-Men, Magneto is Malcolm X, Professor X is Martin Luther King. Like that's the dynamic.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good movie. It was a good watch. I don't know. I guess I expected more. Like number 2, I feel like it's gonna be cold, just
Word.
because they got a lot more to play with.
I was kind of worried about number 2 because of like Chadwick Boseman, his passing. But I mean, yo, you gotta give credit, bro. It looks like the movie's gonna be amazing, like
Yo,
top tier.
there's so
What?
many installments of Black Panther after T'Challa that they'll be okay.
Yeah. So how do you feel if, because Black Panther obviously is the pivotal character, right? What if it's somebody that you don't expect, somebody
So
completely different, and it's like,
so
oh shit.
so personally, I can't see them using. I mean, I think they can use Shuri as like the next Black Panther. However, like even in the comic book, like it was like when she was Black Panther in the comic book, she actually wasn't really approved by the Panther spirit. The only reason she got to put up the mantle is because of the fact that Wakanda was under siege and she was willing to protect. But at the time, they felt like she was jealous of her brother because she's always wanted to take up the mantle and things of that nature. And then also, T'Challa had a son. So his son could be, but technically his son is him and Storm's kid. And Storm
Yeah,
ain't never
that's
been
true.
introduced into the MCU yet. So I don't know how they do the dynamic of the son. But I personally think I
Wait, so
think that
T'Challa was with Storm?
Yeah.
yes. So
Oh yeah,
Storm-
yeah,
X-Men
yeah.
Storm.
Baddie.
Storm is
Halle
not
Berry.
Storm is
Mhm.
not she's Wakandan. Like
Oh,
her
really?
like her family is legitimately Wakandan. Like she is, but her and T'Challa got married, they had a child. Like their son is in like the Young Avengers. I don't know if you ever watched like the show that was on like Disney and shit.
I watched a little bit, but it was
Yeah.
it was
It was
mid.
kind of whack. It was kind of mid,
Yeah.
but he was on that. But I personally think I wouldn't be surprised if Killmonger makes a return. Because obviously they introduced Namor coming out to sea. And remember, at the end of Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan, I'd rather be at the bottom of the sea because my ancestors would rather have death than bondage. And I could see, like, you got to remember, like, Black Panther died and they put him in that salt and revived his ass. So
Mhm.
it's possible. I don't know.
But
didn't know
but they
Black
did
Panther
that
was
with
a
the heart-shaped herb,
Michael.
and there's no more heart-shaped herbs.
Well, it is because Shuri redevelops it.
Ah, man,
Shuri's one of the
her little
greatest-
genius self,
Yeah,
man.
she's one of the greatest minds in the entire MCU.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Chat. I hate you, chat. Iggy, that is crazy. All right, let's talk about basketball before Mars falls asleep. Nick Dawson, or the fake Nick. Fake Nick is here, he said. That's a super chat.
Don't do that to Nick.
Travis,
He was on the show
He
for
said
Gridiron.
that. He sent.
Nick
He was
called
on-
himself fake Nick.
He was on Gridiron.
He's been there for like multiple episodes. Don't do Nick
Oh, that's
like that.
heat. I actually did not know that. I actually had no idea. That's elite. Travis Lance, I do not watch Gridiron, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know anything about football. I'm sure it's a great show. I just literally don't know. It would be like watching. I don't even know. Science. I hate science. I don't know anything about science. Anyway, Travis Lindsay.
Are we ever gonna
You could
get?
say,
it'd be
you
like
could say
looking
that
at Mike-
watching baseball.
It would be like looking through like a microscope at like little organisms and being like, oh yeah, like what is that?
Yo, Ron flew out last night, but he said he's almost done casting the all-black production of Toy Story and who the characters are. I'm telling you, Ron said he knows who everybody is, from Mr. Potato Head to T-Rex to everybody, to Slinky.
So Ron told us yesterday, but I thought he was gonna be here today. Since he's not here, we're gonna push this. But he did say all it's gonna take is 250 for him to give the Toy Story cast. So $250 worth of super chats, memberships, whatever, just in that show, the live show. So hopefully next show when he's on, we'll hit 250. I guarantee we'll hit 250, and he'll have to give the
I don't-
entire cast.
Mhm.
Travis Lindsay
Is that
said
what we're gonna start doing now? We're just gonna start bribing.
that's
the
what
chat?
that's what he said.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little bribery.
You
Going
don't-
on forever.
You don't have to do anything. You could sit there and watch. He just said that's what it would take. Travis Lindsay,
How much will you think the chat will be willing to pay for me to cut my beard?
$5 probably.
Yeah, I'll put $1 on it.
Put $1 on it.
Hmm.
Let's see. I want to see, cause I don't want to cut my beard.
Then
Why'd you
don't
put
cut
that
your
out there?
beard. Yeah, well,
Cause I want to.
just didn't cut it.
If they say a number that I'm interested in, I might agree to it. But we'll see.
What are you interested in?
$10.
We'll have to see.
How
But
much is
yes,
it? How
no,
much
no.
are your haircuts? We'll just pay for it.
What about a complete baldy?
Yeah, I want you to go full bald though. Like go the whole thing. You gotta go
Eyebrows-
Full
eyebrows
body,
too.
Bro. You
Eyebrows
gonna
too.
have to give me.
Like
Full
1,500?
body.
What if they
15
go
to
500?
200.
What if they give you 500? 500
Not
in
for
the
a
chat.
full body. Not for a full body.
It's gonna grow back.
Well, what's worse, the full
no.
the full baldy or drinking toe water?
Full body. I'll drink toe water any day.
Hey,
Mars, did you ever go full bald?
Whose toes is it?
I'm not against it. I just need my facial hair to come first.
whose toes is it?
You can't. I don't
Oh
think
wait,
you can go
so
bald
wait,
and have no facial
is
hair.
it that
in my
I'm cutting?
opinion.
Is it that I'm cutting everything off, or I'm
Yeah, you
just
cutting the
off?
beard. You're gonna be straight baby
Yeah,
face. Like
you're gonna
everything.
be egged up.
You
I
gonna look
need
like a
15.
newborn.
He said egged
fresh-
up.
I need 15 or 2
Newborn.
racks. I need
Newborn baby.
1,500 to 2 racks for that. Maybe 3, because that's ridiculous.
Dub, how much?
I'm gonna gonna look like Andrew Tate
This
and dominate the market.
You have to do it on the show though.
Like I'm dominating players' choice.
Yeah, you have to be getting the trim on the shirt.
you
Yeah,
can't even
right-
say that
like
with a
right
straight
there.
face, Dub.
Mhm.
I'll do it. I'll get my little brother to do it.
All right, chat, you heard it.
Dub, do you have a
They're
hairy?
not gonna raise up 2K.
Dub, do you have a hairy chest?
No, it's not that bad. It's just
Would
like
would it be? Is it like waxable? Like, is there
yeah,
enough?
it's waxable.
How much for you to film yourself getting your chest waxed?
Wow.
Ah.
Like
I'll do that
40
for
old
less.
the 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, I won't hurt that bad. I'll take it like a man, man.
You could look like Andrew Tate.
Oh God. Oh my
The
God. This
top
guy's been
G?
talked
The
about the
top G?
last
I'm not-
3.
I'm not ready to be
All
the
right.
top G yet.
Top
I'm
G,
on
yeah.
my way though. It's hard to be the top G right
The
now.
top G in the Bugatti.
Travis
I need-
Lindsay
I
said,
need 3 more Bugattis.
Yo, Travis, I'm so sorry, bro. I've been trying to get this off for the last 5 minutes. Travis Lindsay sent a super chat, said, "What's good, fellas? Glad to be able to watch the show. Been caught up on getting this real estate license and getting college done. That's dope, man.
Nice.
Congratulations. Good,
Congrats.
good for you." Nick Dawson said, "Why does Dell and JD hate football so much?" It's not even that I hate football. I just don't follow it. Like, I'll watch it. I'll go to someone's house and watch the Hawks, or I'll go to a game, but I don't follow it. Just don't really care. Don't know. Never really cared. So, anyway, we talk about basketball today?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get it. All right, the first segment of the day is he's preaching or he's reaching, starting with Draymond Green. Draymond Green wants and believes that he deserves a maximum contract extension.
He does.
Preaching. Yeah. Preaching.
Preaching.
Wait, Mar,
Go
so
ahead, Jack.
what has to happen in order for him to get a max contract? Like, they
Mm.
can dip more into the luxury tax, right?
I could check. I'm pretty sure because they have bird rights or whatever it is that they can go over the luxury tax to pay guys like Draymond and Clay.
Because they drafted him.
Yep.
Gotcha. So why didn't they do that on his last extension?
I don't know.
When was that?
I'm checking now.
Was that around the same time they
It would have to
got
be
KD?
3 years ago. Because I'm pretty sure he probably has like 2 years left on that contract, and now he wants an extension that's a max.
Oh, to see right now.
Yeah, what?
I personally think he's reaching. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to y'all. Like, I do think he's worth some money. Like, I think you should pay him close to top dollar. But I do think it's a bit of a reach. I don't know how many more years left he has to be as elite as he was. And then you kind of look and you give these older players some money. It's not always the best situation. Like, if you look at how he played in the finals, it wasn't that great in the finals. I mean, there was the second best player on that team in the finals was Andrew Wiggins. I think a lot of guys came up big. But I look at like Chris Paul. They extended him 2 years, 50 million or something like that. So he's getting like 50 million a year for the next 2 years. And I mean, it has been clear that he was running out of gas. You know, I think right before they beat the Pelicans, it was clear like that Pelican series could be over and done with, just because you could see him running out of gas. And I think that could also happen to Draymond. So I do think he's reaching. I think he's worth to keep on the roster, hands down. As a defensive mind, as a facilitator, all the things that he brings to that team. But to give him a completely maximum contract extension, I mean, I think that's a little bit much.
I think here's where I have an issue with him. I don't know if he's demanding it or if he's just saying what he thinks that he's worth. But if he were demanding a max contract, that'd be a little weird in that, again, like J-Rob's saying, you're starting to get up there in NBA age. He's only 32, which is crazy, but you know how sports go. But to be asking for that when you know you're kind of going on the downslope of your career and you know that you need to be able to open up space for other guys for you to compete, because if they're paying you, Who else are they going to pay?
Listen, the Golden State Warriors should use all that money that they've been using over the past 5-6 years and just keep pushing their luxury tax as far as they can, because after this dynasty or era, it's going to be tough for them to win over the next 20, 30 years after Draymond, Steph, and all those guys are gone. I don't think anybody wants to play in Golden State. I mean, maybe it holds more cachet now, but what does that really matter? Like, nobody wants to go to the Spurs. Nobody wants to go to Chicago. Everybody wants to go to the hot destinations, and I don't think Golden State's going to be one of those after Steph leaves. So they might as well max out Draymond. They have a huge chance to keep him happy, but I mean, he does have 2 years left, so it really doesn't matter. I would kind of wait, but I mean, if you're giving guys like CP3 maxes, I feel like Draymond, a proven winner, a point guard in his own right, should get a max contract.
What about the young players coming up the pipe?
I mean,
is that really the question though? Because the question is, like, is he reaching with that demand or, with that statement? And I don't think he is, regardless of like the financial and like the logistics of it. He's deserving of a max for everything that he's put into that franchise, everything that he's won for the franchise, what he means to the team, to the system. Like, they don't have that success without him, period.
That's financially irresponsible.
With J-Rob's point, it's either you develop the young guys or win championships. You know how hard it is. The Celtics have been trying to develop the young guys. They just went to the finals. But, I mean, they have a core that's unmatchable. So it's like either develop the young guys or keep Draymond Green happy, because we all know when Draymond Green is not in the picture, for whatever reason, the Golden State Warriors struggle. Whether he's the heart and soul of that locker room, the captain, whatever it is, we all know who Steph is. But I mean, Draymond's not a guy, because he's very vocal. He's very in your face with how he feels, and he could fuck that locker room up. Literally, he could tear that locker room to shreds if he wanted to. So that's probably the first guy you want to keep happy.
I want to make it clear
that
I think
hold on, wait. Do you think he will though? If he doesn't,
I think it'll be subtle. I think it'll be subtle because he's going to attack front office. He's not going to attack anybody. I don't think the players, because I do believe that he feels like those are his brothers. But he's going after front office. And if front office has learned anything from what's been going on with situations around the league, they're going to have their hands full. You have the luxury tax. You drafted him. He has the bird rights. You can extend him. Why wouldn't you? You got to take an L sometimes. You guys have won many of championships. Now it's time to, like you guys say, pay the players. This is an instance where players 100%. Deserve money for doing their job.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I just don't see Draymond being the guy to
CP3
that's
was.
But CP3 is not Draymond. To wreck that franchise. He can wreck any franchise for sure. You know what I mean? But I think like that's his home. It's different, I think, for him.
I don't think,
in my opinion.
I don't.
Why does he say anything then?
He's saying that because
pressure to apply friendly pressure. Yeah. He's an intense guy.
He's not even saying it in a disrespectful manner. He's saying, I just deserve a max contract. What he did throughout that time, taking pay cuts in order for them to get KD. Like you said, Draymond Green's really vital to the success of the Golden State Warriors with their ability to play small ball, mainly because of him, his defense, to play on the perimeter, to play down low as well. Like, that really helped them and leading to rings. So he definitely deserves it, bro. Like, no, period.
I think he needs contingencies also. Like, you need to make all-star games. You need to make maybe first, second, or third team All-NBA.
But
just
you
to have something to
he'll have to probably put all defense on his.
No, you're not. It doesn't matter. You can't incentivize a player off of individual.
They incentivize rookies. They incentivize rookies. That's why when Zion has an asterisk next to his rookie contract, max extension, or even trade,
someone who hasn't done anything for the team
but you
yet.
can't do that. You can't do that to established players, because they'll just go off of the incentive, and you won't win a championship like that. If you have a roster full of incentivized players, they're going to just worry about getting theirs and not trying to do anything for the team.
I thought there were several.
I don't think making an all defensive player of the year is but you said all-star. That's a great one. I was just throwing out examples. Out examples across the board. But Draymond has made every all-star game since they won the first championship. Maybe missed one because of injury, whatever it may have been.
That's a slippery slope to me, though, because let's just say, there's always exceptions to the rule. I like that you said, defensive, because obviously, that's like a team That's under the team
J-Rob
concept
alluded to
still.
it.
All right. Oh yeah. So that's good then, right? But what if the next player then says, you know what, I want to be incentivized? And what if they're not a
But to the
defensive-minded player? And so
But to
now,
the point, you got to pick and choose because Draymond shouldn't even have to be arguing, do I get maxed out or not? Or he shouldn't even bring it up. If it's not a problem and you guys give me what I feel like I deserve, then what's the issue here? But if they feel like he isn't, if he's on a downhill slope, then you have to incentivize somehow. Shit, shoot 40 from 3. Shoot this from free throw. It doesn't got to be anything crazy. It just has to know you're going to be in the lab because we gave you a max, or not a max, but we gave you an extension before. And every single year since then, threes have just been non-existent on a team that thrives off 3-point shooting. I'm just saying. I'm just
like
giving
that at
small
all.
But
examples.
Euro, that's not crazy.
I understand,
That's
but I
not
don't
crazy
like that at all.
because there's several players who have incentives in their contracts. Like
I know
I don't
that.
remember who it was, but it was like if they got first, second, or third team, all NBA, they got whatever X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's
those
crazy.
are all rookies. Those are all rookie extensions.
That's especially prevalent overseas for overseas players. They get incentivized. Like that's part of the thing. That's
But they get incentivized, but not in EuroLeague.
I mean,
When you
EuroLeague
go to
is,
Asia.
I worked for the NBL and the WNBL in Australia, and they incentivize a lot of them contracts.
Maybe Australia, Asia, but as far as the EuroLeague goes, it's just like you said because it would incentivize players to go against team basketball.
Yeah.
So nobody can.
I just don't believe in that strategy. If I was a GM, I would try to avoid incentives as much as possible. I would just try to be. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna lie. So you're basically saying to put the incentives to J-Rob's point, where since he's getting ordered to place these incentives just in case, like he doesn't live up to the contract. Correct? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I could also see the Warriors doing like a Cardinals thing, how they did Kyler Murray's contract. Like
I just heard about that.
put a
yesterday.
requirement in there. But they did that because they really are hesitant to give him that money. So that's kind of like their excuse to pull money away. So you got to watch. You got a lot of dough.
Kyler Murray still got a lot of guaranteed.
But you could tell they were like shaking their wrist when they gave him the contract.
I'm not gonna lie. If I'm Draymond Green, I'm not with that because you're basically telling me, fuck whatever I did in the past for you, even though I took pay cuts for you, even though me being here was a vital part in us winning chips. Even though I'm getting older with age, I haven't shown any lack of like regression besides the offense, but his defense is there. His defense and his playmaking is there regardless. That's the main part of their game that they take advantage of.
Leadership.
So and leadership as well. So if I sit here, wait. So if Draymond Green and they be like, nah, bro, since you getting older, you about to take this incentive. That's a big slap you in the face. I'm Draymond Green. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? After everything I've done, you really don't have the faith in me to do these things. So you're gonna put incentives on me. I think that's just gonna create a bad vibe and bad environment if the Warriors do that.
It will, and that's exactly what's going to happen if they don't max him. And I think they should max him based off of everything else that's happened in the league with other players, especially for Draymond.
CP3.
He's paid his dues. Yeah, like CP3, he's brought teams to the playoffs. But I mean, he's still playing at a very high level. Besides maybe the last 2 years, it's starting to show some decline. But I mean, Draymond, if you guys trust that he's going to give you what he gave you last season, then give him the max because that's enough for this team to win.
All right. Preaching or reaching. Mark Jackson on the Lakers ceiling. Healthy, they can win a championship. You guys, is he preaching or is he reaching?
He's preaching. He's preaching.
Facts. He's preaching for sure.
James Harden.
Who's on the roster right now? Go ahead, move.
No, you got it. You got it. If you want to know.
No,
I don't know.
I was just, I don't know either because I saw a screenshot of their roster like right now, and I don't know how accurate that is still because I don't know if they have made any moves.
Yeah, let me see if I can get an updated roster for you because I'm curious
I
as
feel
well.
like last year, I'm just going based off of last year because I know free agency is still open. If they would have been healthy last year, they would have had a chance.
Yo, I don't even know where to look for like current rosters, but I could start reading this one. This is from ESPN. Mars, where's the best place to go and look for like current roster, free agency pickups, trades, like updated?
They might have it on Basketball Reference. I'm checking right now. Yeah, they have it
All
on
right, so
Basketball
right now
Reference.
they have Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, LeBron, THT, Kendrick Nunn, Lonnie Walker the fourth, Damian Jones, Stanley Johnson, Max Christie, Austin Reeves, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown Jr., Wayne Gabriel, Juan Toscano Anderson, Javante McCoy, Scottie Pippen Jr. Yeah, so they still got a lot
I
of.
thought Juan Toscano's. Oh yeah, that's right. He just got there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think they can win a championship. Now, I wouldn't bet on it, but they can. It's in the realm of possibility.
I
Yo,
mean,
I'm just
anyone
not. LeBron
can.
James is there, man. Like I just feel like sometimes it's that simple. Like LeBron is there, so
Yeah.
y'all be telling me if Michael Jordan was there, they could do it with anything, and if it was Kobe, they could do it in anything. So I mean, why can I say the same with LeBron?
No.
I don't
And
think
I
Michael
still-
Jordan's winning a title with this team. But
I mean, like AD, for example, 2 years ago, we were talking about AD like he was up there as one of like the best power forwards, best bigs in the league. Like 2 years ago in that bubble, we wouldn't be talking about Jokic being better than Anthony Davis. I think 2 years ago, depending on who you talk to, debatably somebody 2 years ago would tell you they'd rather have Anthony Davis than Giannis, just depending on who you speak to. So I just feel like if you can get the same production this year from those two guys, I mean, I can't look at a finals out of the realm of possibility.
Dell's taking AD right now over Jokic, so
Yeah. I was thinking.
I
that
mean,
too.
I'm not. I don't think that's really crazy. I don't think that's insanity.
I mean,
Does anyone
think
have the
it's
current
insane.
Lakers roster?
Shaq just read it like 2 seconds ago.
No, sorry, I'm handling something. Give me one.
I think where it gets weird is people say weird things like, oh, when those three played together last season, it was this, and that. But nobody wants to attribute to the fact that, do you know how hard it is to win on a team to where every week somebody else is injured and then every week you're trying to get back into the groove? I don't understand how people just write that off. It's very weird to me. But I mean, people love to harp on that weird take of players being injured. Yeah, the whole roster was injured at some point in time. They couldn't get any type of camaraderie. They couldn't get it going. That's just is what it is. It happens to teams every single year. But I want that take explained, Mars, because you specifically have brought up when these player and this player was on, this was their record, or when this player was on, this was their record. I don't know if that's what you still do, Mars, but that's what you used to do, Joe.
What players are you talking about?
With the Lakers.
Yeah, but when I said the Lakers with Russ, AD, and Bron weren't good, because they were 11 and 10. That's what I
okay.
said.
What does that have to do with what's really going on?
Which is
exactly, how can you judge a big three? Because this is what you were doing, off of them being 11 and 10.
Yeah, I said they didn't look great. That's what I said. That when I watched them all three play together, I didn't see title winning aspirations.
But how long did they
playoffs?
How long did they
play?
21 games.
I think what Shaq's saying is like that wasn't enough time to sit here and make that assumption when they didn't.
Yeah, I never said. Well, I mean, I never said it was. I just said based on what I saw. I never said it was a huge sample size or a good enough sample size. But I can only go based off what I saw.
But why did you bring that up? But why did you bring that up again?
Because back in whenever that conversation happened, we were talking about the Lakers and Shaq was talking about their health. And then I said, even when all three of them played, they weren't that great. That's all
right,
I said.
so yeah,
they didn't really have much time to really build any type of chemistry. Most of the time they were hurt. So
they did.
So Mars, what's the difference between last year's team and this year's team? Because you said it's in the realm of possibilities for them to win a championship. But last year, you felt that they were just regular, I guess?
It's my belief in the fact that Anthony Davis will get back to the Anthony Davis that is a top 5 player in the NBA. If you have Anthony Davis, you've had of the last 2 years, they have no chance of winning the title. But I just have a belief in Anthony Davis.
I think that's crazy, to be honest.
All right, we'll move on. James Harden. I'm taking this summer to get back to the elite level that I know I can be at. Is he preaching? Or is he reaching?
Say again.
He's about to come back. He's about to come back like that.
He said, I'm taking this summer to get back to the elite level that I know I can be at.
He would have been. He would have put up crazy numbers.
Yeah,
he
I
would
think
have
he's
put up crazy
preaching.
numbers last year with the 76ers if it was just him and Joel Embiid. You know how hard it is to play with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and still put up the crazy numbers that he put up? What did we want him?
That's
so
impossible.
Where was the fall off? Where was the fall off for James Harden?
I think it was.
I don't think he's the same scorer. I think his playmaking never changed, but I don't think he could score at the same level that we're used to.
I think
This year he wasn't scoring.
I mean,
at the same level.
the fall off. I think the adjustment to that like little fake rule change or whatever that they try to implement, and then later really didn't. I think that has a lot of focus when it comes to people viewing him and his so-called fall off. But you know what I mean? Like you said, Shaq, it's incredibly difficult to be a player like James Harden and team up with KD and Kyrie and still make it happen the way that we've been seeing him make it happen with the Rockets. And so because I said that, and because I said that's the reason why this is not going to work, I can't now switch up and say, oh, this is a reach. I for sure think he's preaching.
I think he's preaching, but it's not for the reason that you guys are saying. I think it's more to his health and his hamstring and why he was struggling like that, and not him being with KD or Kyrie. Because I mean, even the first year he got there, he was still playing fine. The first year he got there, KD and Kyrie went out and he was playing amazing. And this year, after the hamstring, he didn't really take his conditioning seriously, and he even said that his hamstring wasn't as explosive as before, and that was mainly because of his hamstring. He didn't take the time in the offseason to really get into shape, and that was truly relevant throughout the beginning of the season and the season as a whole. So I think that was the main issue of James Harden, not really him being with Kyrie and KD.
We didn't say the problem is, even if he was healthy, how much more was he going to do on the Nets with Kyrie and KD? As we know, Kyrie and KD, especially Kyrie, how he was acting, that doesn't change anything if I'm healthy or not. What Kyrie is going to be doing on or off the court.
I think
Dub is right still, though. You know what I mean? I think two things can be true at the same time.
It could be. I think that there will be a drop in James Harden scoring, but I don't think the efficiency numbers will be as bad as it was this year if he actually had that time in the work in the offseason. Like,
you don't think he averages more points per game this year?
He may.
I think he has to.
He may average. Wait. You talking about on the Sixers?
Yeah.
I think he had. Yeah. He definitely could.
Like similar timeline or a similar stat line as last season?
No. I expect it to at least be like 24, 25. Because
I mean, what he said was true, though.
Yeah. If in my head, if he's over here shooting better percentages, mainly because of him being more healthy, he had like 22 last season, so I expect him to at least put 25 per game.
He said if anybody else put up his stat line from last season, that'd be a max contract player.
Oh, that's a fact.
I do think we gotta hold James Harden a little bit more accountable, though. Just with like I don't disagree with the chemistry in Brooklyn, and I don't disagree about the hamstrings. But he was also out of shape a lot this season. He did not look in shape most times throughout the year. It is clear that like his off the season regimen is starting to catch up to him in his older age. I think that's why he's had 2 years dealing with the same injury. And ultimately, I mean, like I said, I think he's preaching. I think he could come back and be great. But he was also eating a cheeseburger at Rolling Loud 2 days ago. So, I mean,
shit.
Look, I'm just telling you.
Yo, J-Rob, that's nasty, bro.
I'm being a harsh critic only because, like, you got to remember, like, when he was in Houston, fellas, he looked huge. He looked huge coming out of Houston. I don't know. Maybe he took the suit off when he got to Brooklyn. He did lose some weight kind of quick. But
hold on. Didn't he say it was a suit, right?
Yeah, I think he might have had a suit on.
I think he had a fat suit
on his joint. But we have to hold him accountable about his conditioning. I think it's the same with AD. I do think AD is off-season regimen too. Like I think certain players got to be better in the off-season, and I think Luka Doncic is going to have that problem in a few years coming down the pipe with his conditioning.
No, he goes. He's in.
I think the problem
right
is,
now,
I'm telling you,
see him right now.
I think
he looks kind of slim right now.
I think he has the competition coming up. What is it called? Not FIBA, Euro.
Oh, it's World Championships.
The qualifiers.
Was it qualifiers?
Yeah, but it's for Eurobasket, I think.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, the European Cup.
So he has that coming up. But I just feel like the same way that Luka may or may not have cared for his body the past 2 summers, all you have to do is just say, I'm going to condition. I have to make sacrifices. You can still eat the burger, but goddamn it, you got to run it off.
Yeah,
You
but
can't just be
Luka,
like, I'm going to wait till the first week and I'm about to get back in shape. And
I don't
that's what I
disagree.
think James Harden, I think that's how he feels going into seasons. I'm going to party. I worked all hard. I worked my ass off during the season. And now I'm about to just work out right before in training camp. I'm going to get in shape in training camp. And in the league, you can do that. But the stars, they could really take a back seat. Like the younger guys have to come prepared.
Let me ask you this though: is it easier to change up your workout habits now? Like most people are saying, Luka's in Europe, really training. He looks in shape. Is it easier to change your habits in year 4, or is it easier to change your habits in year 13?
I think
14?
that has something to do with outside influence, because if he's been doing what he's been doing since year 14, that's just his routine, right? And so now that everybody's coming down, if everybody's coming down on him because he did wear the suit or whatever, and maybe he wore it. I don't know. I don't want to get nasty and like start speculating of why he was looking big as hell one day and then he took a flight to the East Coast and all of a sudden he was slim again. I don't want to speculate on that, but what I'm saying is it's the public, right? And it's the franchises, it's the critics, it's the writers, it's everybody that's like hyper focusing on it right now. And so now it's like, okay, James Harden needs to be doing all this and that. But before 14 seasons, however many seasons he'd been in the league, nobody ever said anything about that. We knew he was partying, but he was putting in work. And so
I agree.
So like I don't fully buy that.
And J-Rob, it's probably harder though. It's for sure harder now.
Yeah, it's hard. That's all I'm saying. I think it's harder to do what you've been doing.
Let's shoot him some bail because he took a pay cut.
Yeah.
He took a pay cut. So I could feel like if it's a pay cut, it's a pay cut.
But he's taking a player option next year. So this is clearly like a prove it, because he could extend going into the next season. I do think this was thing with Draymond. Very much still self-interest in his contract. I mean, people can go and say he took a pay cut, but I don't think he took some significant. He's going to get that 36 this year. And then if he balls out like we all say he's going to ball out, he's extending next season for sure.
Which he should. I mean, he doesn't really have to ball out. Just go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll give you like, all right, that's cool. Go take it to game 6 or 7. No, I'm telling you, make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then you can get your extension. Like that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if you're James Harden, you still like J-Rob said, we still got to hold him accountable. He's one of the best players ever played a game.
But what is carrying your team almost to the finals have to do? Like, it doesn't have to fall on just him individually performing well and like, oh wow, that you could obviously see the rest of the team.
We've seen James Harden individually perform well his entire career.
Facts.
So we know what that's getting.
And we definitely hold players of a certain caliber to that standard.
Facts.
Like if you're not hitting the finals or you're not winning the finals, it's like, yeah, okay, that's a knock against you.
And that's why we care about it, because you got to remember, we watched at one point, James Harden was putting up, 36 a night for 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Like, there's a certain way we look at James Harden when he was at his absolute peak. And that's why we kind of critical of, you got to win, man. We got to see you win. Like, we want to see you win too.
I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to ask you guys about a point that James Harden made. He said that if anybody else put up the numbers I did, they get a max contract, right? And the feeling that we have of us seeing James Harden in his, form back then, we kind of criticize him way more because of that. So if RJ Barrett, for instance, he averaged 22-10 on the same efficiency numbers and all of that on the Knicks, are we going to sit here and talk about RJ Barrett the same way we're talking about James Harden? And does RJ Barrett deserve a max contract for that?
But also, you're comparing like guys who are completely different.
He hasn't shown that
stages
he's been
in
better
there
than that before.
Exactly, but we're talking. I'm more highlighting the max contract part.
You're saying that other people with a 22 and 10 stat line, they're probably getting a max
more
deal.
Love. No,
but you compare James Harden
to
himself more than you compare him to other people in the league.
Exactly.
And it's like Steph Curry shot 38 from 3 this year, but everyone said he had a down year when he was still the best shooter in the league. But you compare Steph Curry to himself. You just compare James Harden to himself, not to RJ Barrett.
And that's what I kind of don't. Everything good? All right, brother, be safe.
All right, I will.
Sorry. What was I gonna say? No, because what we do is we're looking at James Harden, who he was as a player, and not really just comparing him to the league. Where we really compare it to the league, he's a lot better than a lot of guys, and a lot of guys would be getting way more love putting up that sideline compared to James Harden. You feel what I'm saying? I just don't think that it's okay for us to sit here and be like, all right, James Harden, I seen what you did before. I see you have a down year, so we're just gonna criticize you crazy just because of that.
I mean, he's not the only player that went through that this season, though. Russell Westbrook averaged 17 and 6 or 17, 7 and 7, something like that. And most players that average 17, 7 and 7, I mean, they're gonna be paid a decent amount of money. And right now, Russell Westbrook is playing for his black basketball life right now.
I feel bad for Russ too.
When there's certain players that have a standard of what you're accustomed to, I mean, yeah, James Harden was averaging 22 and 10, but come on, we all watched the games. It was 22 and 10, but it did not look like the James Harden we were used to. That's just a fact.
But it was still better than a lot. If RJ Barrett's doing that same thing, we're not going to be talking about RJ. We're like, dang, RJ, you taking a step up. You looking good. Maybe he doesn't deserve a max contract. But since it's James Harden, it's like, I'm more reluctant to give him.
But what's our expectations of RJ
Barrett?
Right. Time in the year is big.
Before, and then you regress. People are going to say you don't deserve the max
contract. I'm glad you brought
contract.
it back up, because what I was trying to say is that RJ's year 3 in the league, 4,
right.
whatever.
3.
Harden's in year whatever, 15, 16. I don't even know how many years James Harden's been in the league, but you know what I'm saying. So when you see if RJ Barrett is, which he is improving year over year, then you see, okay, what is his ceiling? James Harden, we already know what James Harden's ceiling is. So you're almost comparing apples to oranges in that situation. Like you have to compare guys who are for sure.
I mean, age goes into
13 years, JD.
Okay.
13.
Okay.
Yeah. So
13.
he's got 10 more years
I see
on
your
him.
point.
So.
I see your point. I see your point with
But
that.
I hear, Dub, I hear what you're saying, and it makes sense when you're comparing guys who are both around year. Okay, so he's 13, so look at like an 11, 12, 13 year guy, and then that conversation definitely makes sense. All right, last one. Reaching or preaching, J.R. Smith says Dame needs to just leave the Blazers in ring chase. In quotes, you're just going to rot in Portland, bro.
That was nasty. That
I think
he said that, but for them to clip that, it's out of context. I don't like.
It was out of context, but they took the best quote from the.
Of course they did.
Man,
he definitely
like
said that, but he didn't
do.
mean it like that. Shout out to TikTok, but I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah.
Player's choice knows nothing about that.
Nothing.
I think we all just agree that was a pretty nasty statement. We've all been saying the same thing, but I don't think anybody said it like that. I probably have.
It's funny. I made a video on my own account saying that I'm upset that Dame hasn't left Portland this offseason. I was really expecting him to leave.
If I was Dame, I'd leave, but I can't.
I think he retires a Blazer, bro.
That's his decision.
You know how much money he's making?
Mars, do you think there's a window for him to leave? Like, do you think that he will be out of his moment and it'll come to a point where if he left, he would just really just be on somebody's coattails and like try to do the Gary Payton thing? Oh, no disrespect to Gary Payton, but Carmelo and Gary Payton, you know what I'm saying?
Based on, I think Dame was hurt this year, so if I'm looking at, I think Dame's locked up till like 2026. I think so. That's 4 years.
Damn, so he really is
He'll be
rotting
like
in Portland.
35.
He'll be 36. He's 32 right now, bro.
Yeah,
so
I'm not really. He needs to leave, in my opinion.
If he just leaves as a free agent and doesn't request a trade in the next couple of years, I think you might have like all-star quality Dame, but he won't be the superstar Dame that we have now. He'll just be.
No, but my question was, how will you view him?
I mean,
like, is it better for him to just like rock it out
now? I just know him as someone who's not going to win as the best player on the team, whether or not he stays in Portland or not. If he leaves now, it's still going to be the same thing.
Here's the thing.
Dame, 4 years.
Dame's in a win-win situation at this point because he has stuck to his guns, says he's not leaving. He wants to win there. So now, here's the thing. If he doesn't win, he makes a ton of money, whatever. No one really is going to be, I feel like they're not really going to talk trash his legacy that much, right? But then if he wins for the rest of his life, he gets to shit talk everybody. It's a win-win situation.
No, that's a fact.
Perfect situation. He's retiring in Portland, though, I think.
I mean, we're gonna take that. I mean, think about it. We look at Dirk Nowitzki's one championship, and let's be real, we put that over some players who have like maybe 2, 3, just because of how he got the ring. So, I mean, if Damian Lillard got one in Portland, but we would kind of be like, oh my God, like he brought a ring to Portland. But I do think he should have considered leaving, only because, I mean, we look at Dame as like at one point one of the top 10 players in the NBA. Some still do, and I mean, I think I'd put him on my top 10. I think if you're a top 10 player who's gonna go down as one of the greatest to do it, and that legacy, maybe top 100 people to ever play the game. I mean, a ring matters to me when we look at legacy, because I do feel like the way we talk about the greatest players, because they don't have rings, we are harder on them. Like some people will say Reggie Miller is not better than Klay Thompson because Klay Thompson has more rings, or, because of what he got to do in his career versus what Reggie Miller did in his career. I think Damian Lillard are going to be the same way. Like, we're going to put other guys ahead of Dame just because he doesn't have a ring. And I'm not saying like the cheek to grind loyalty attitude is bad, but Shaq said it earlier. Dynasty franchises like the Spurs, the Bulls, the Warriors, they have had championship success, but they are not hotspots for star talent. Portland is not going to be a hotspot for that. And I love Anthony Simon's game, but if that's your second best player, you got to think of the other, like the doubles, like the duos in the West, like Anthony Simons and Damian Lillard compared to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Like there's a clear difference there, and in order for Dame to have a championship, I think he will end up requesting a trade within the next 2 seasons. I can easily see that happening.
I just don't want to see the Dwayne Wade blemish on his resume. You know how he was supposed to stay in Miami and then he ended up in Chicago and Cleveland only to go back and retire in Miami. Like I really don't want to see that. If Dame doesn't want to leave,
So stupid.
I would hate for that to happen.
Bro,
I
just
think
write it
Wade
out.
went to Chicago because he wanted to go. That was personal reasons.
No, him and Pat Riley was beefing.
Pat
Yeah,
Riley
yeah,
didn't
but
wanna
he
pay
chose
him.
that destination.
He chose
And
Chicago. He didn't want to
what I'm
leave
saying is,
Miami,
like,
but if
right,
he did, he
and-
was going to Chicago.
And that's what I
So
don't
how
want
is
for
that a
Dame.
blemish on his record? On his
To me, it just doesn't look right. Like I would have liked to see somebody like Dwayne Wade who came up. Like it's just like Steph. I would like to see him play for nobody else but the Warriors.
I mean, how many
It's
players
just
have done that in their career?
not very
Just, like,
many, and that's why I
stayed
think
at
to
the
me
crib.
this is
Dirk,
this
Kobe,
is a
Tim
personal
Duncan.
thing. I would like to I would like to have another player move into that group.
I don't think Jay.
Bradley Beal.
Jay, I would have to.
Bradley
Jay, I would disagree.
Where
with you on
is
that.
Bradley Beal?
Is that not
Jay-
it? Bradley Beal doesn't.
No, he does. No,
Yeah, he got
they
it.
clowning only because you said what you said last time. But like I defend Bradley Beal. Y'all know how I feel about him.
Yeah, Bradley Beal.
Jay, I would disagree with the win-win with the legacy part, because you got guys like Mars, you got other guys that think that Dame it can't be a best player on a championship contending team, which I just don't agree with at all. And they say that mainly because of him being on Portland, where they were never a championship caliber team.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's very simple. If I put him on Miami, he's the best player, and I like our chances winning. I
Mhm.
really think we win that. I really think we win.
I agree.
So
But
it's
But maybe when he looks at legacy, he thinks of legacy as retiring for the franchise that you came up with. Maybe that's how he's looking at the legacy.
and maybe you could be right with that, but I really do feel as if a lot of people are gonna be like, it's almost gonna be like Melo. Oh, you were great, but you never like that guy. You couldn't be that piece on the championship contending team just because you didn't do it. Just because you wasn't on a championship contending team. You feel me? Those talks will always happen. If
I
that was
promise
Dame.
Damian Lillard does not give a shit about what anyone thinks about his legacy.
He doesn't care.
Damn
You're
sure
right.
doesn't.
You're
Hell
right. He
no.
Damn
doesn't
sure
care.
doesn't.
I'm just saying legacy. Like he probably doesn't care about that him personally. I wouldn't care about it either. But that's something that will be talks in the NBA world.
But Dub, I agree with you in the sense of I do think Dame could be the best player on a championship level team. Like what if Damian Lillard's second best player on his team was a Paul George or Jaylen Brown?
It's not enough.
Two-way wings with a full roster with depth.
It's not enough.
That's not enough.
I
only
doubt
goes
they
to
I don't
would.
know if that's not. I don't know
Only-
if that's not enough, man.
I mean, it
only
depends on the
Golden
other teams
State.
in the league.
Like,
but
look at the roster. Like, what is if the roster like is rounded out and is actually worth a damn?
Give me a big three or more rounded out. Give me a core that you feel like Golden State, if he was to replace Steph, that's the only place where he could go and be the best player and win a championship. And I still don't even know if it happens if other teams have their ducks in a row.
Boston.
If you go to Boston, so who are we taking away?
You can
I mean,
take
you
out
can't just
Jason
throw
Tatum.
another max. You can't just throw another max
You can
contract.
take
on the
out
team.
Jason. You can take out Jason Tatum.
So you think
No,
they will see
you
if
take out
replace
Jaylen
Tatum
Brown.
with
You
Tatum?
cannot.
Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I don't care which one you throw out. You throw out one of those guys, they're winning.
But then it's the argument that Jason Tatum's better than Damian Lillard right now.
I think Dame's better.
So
Yeah,
do
you're
I.
going off of history. You've always known that you go off of history. But I'm just saying, right now Dame's about to be coming off an injury, just like Kawhi. And I don't know, a lot of GMs are taking Jason Tatum right now as it stands over Damian Lillard. But all time, of course, is Damian Lillard.
No, but that's mainly because like the age factor, and last year Dame was hurt. But I'm thinking if we all thinking fully healthy Dame and fully healthy Jason Tatum, I think they're close.
Even
I
still,
don't know.
they don't win.
So
I
you
think
think it's a
they're
1A, 1B?
I think in my personal rankings, Dame's like 10 or 11 for me, and then JT's like around 13 or 14.
Bro, I don't
12,
know.
So
Oh,
it's a
something like
1A,
that.
1B situation.
I might rank
Yeah.
Jason Tatum over Damian
13.
Lillard right now. And I love Damian
13.
Lillard.
I mean, it's just tough, man, because we're going based off of a guy who has always had personal achievements with Damian Lillard. He's always carried his own team, his own weight. So of course everything looks super, just like with James Harden. And then James Harden gets with Kyrie and KD, and the injuries, this and that, but then it's a decline or reduction from what he is normal to putting up. So I mean, we've never seen Dame actually play with another significant two outside of, I guess, CJ McCollum.
See,
But even
could-
CJ
could
CJ
share it
didn't
with somebody.
demand what an
What?
actual two does. Like with Jason Tatum and Dame playing, it's going to be very difficult for them to get off what they both are trying to get off. For
I
them
think
to win a
they'll-
championship.
I think they'll be
We've
completely
seen it.
fine. I think they'll be completely fine, mainly because we seen Dame do that with CJ McCollum and them be
And
being able to work
they
perfectly
weren't fine.
They weren't
No, they-
fine though. They were not fine.
They were not fine.
They weren't winning together, but that's mainly due to the
That's the
defense.
point that I'm making.
But that's
Dub.
mainly due to the defense. There wasn't no defensive pieces around that team at all. The defense was terrible.
So you're
Yeah, I
telling me
agree.
that Dame and CJ McCollum can go to any defensive team like a
No,
Ball
no,
State
I
and
don't
replace
agree.
Jason Tatum
I don't
and
agree.
Jaylen Brown.
No. I
So-
don't agree
so
with
then it
that.
didn't
I don't-
work,
no,
and
I
that's
don't-
fine.
But no, Shaq. But I don't agree with that in that sense, mainly because I don't think CJ's like on the level of like JT or any of that. But I do think that the main struggles of them not winning was mainly because of their lack of defense. And if you want to say CJ too, I don't think that was just a complimentary piece for Damian Lillard. But the topic in which we was talking about is Dame making it work out with Jason Tatum. If I seen that Damian Lillard was making it work out with CJ McCollum, there's no reason for me to say he can't make it work out with Jason Tatum.
Let's add
They
context
play
to it. Dub.
differently.
Let's add context to it. That's all that I'm saying. The only time that we've ever seen Dame eat was by itself, not doing much. Is that fair? It's the same it's the same gripe that I have with Carmelo. The only time we've
Wait,
ever
not
seen
doing
Dame
much?
be Dame. You said what?
He's won one second round playoff series. He hasn't done
No,
much.
Not the all right. So now it's that. So you guys don't
He
give
hasn't
credit.
done much.
You don't give credit for a guy to being the main catalyst for them being a playoff contending team.
No, I give
No,
credit.
that's cool, but we're talking about doing stuff. He's won 4 playoff series.
I think that's very big. Floor raising for your team is very big. That's why a lot of
To
people
you
hope
though,
Jokic-
because when you
No,
put
that's
when you
why-
put them in a
that's
different
why-
we're
room,
talking about
That's
best player
why-
in championship teams.
that-
Floor raising has
exactly.
nothing to do with
This is a
that.
different
why-
room.
It's a
but
completely
that-
different discussion.
No. But that's why Jokic is so high. That's why Russell Westbrook is so high at the time. That's why LeBron James is so high because of their ability to floor raise. Now we want to talk about the playoffs and what happened in the playoffs. You say that Dame fell off a cliff, yes. But as I said before, bro, you put him on the Celtics where he has other options besides him that can help him out and succeed in the playoffs, bro. He'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think Dame just is in need of pieces. I think we've seen multiple times where he done sent people home.
What pieces?
It's taken.
And this is why there's a
I think
stigma
I
that-
think he's not had great two-way wings. in his career.
Who are these magical players is what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh,
Because
there's
we
none.
say
There
Dame,
is none.
go, or Dame, bring people in. It just doesn't work in Portland, which is fine. But I'm not about to sit here and do imaginary stuff where it's just like, oh, Dame, you can all of a sudden be the best player on a championship team. Like, that is crazy to say, in my opinion. I feel like Dame is Dame. Dame is nice. I feel like James Harden is James.
Shaq,
James is nice.
Why do we say that Portland failed Dame then?
Okay, so which team was James Harden the best player on?
No, wait. I need you to answer that question. Why do we say that? Why do we say Portland fails Dame? Why do we say that they did a bad job with Dame? Why do we say that?
I feel like it's a tough situation either way. It's a tough situation, whether it was Portland, whether it was Dame couldn't recruit people to Portland, because I'm pretty sure that he was trying to.
But
or
you
maybe
just
he
said
wanted to
earlier
stay
that
loyal to his locker
they
room.
weren't coming. But you said earlier, like, people not coming there.
They're for sure not. I don't think
they're
that they
not
are. So
coming
that's
there.
why I'm like, it's a weird situation because Dame doesn't want to leave because that's a lot of money. That's life changing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
life-changing.
Nah, it is.
money.
It's generational wealth. Like, generations are set up with the money he's made. 100%
His
agree.
biggest successes will probably be 50, 100 years from now down the road from what he just decided to do. He's setting up his family for whatever, and that's remarkable. All I'm saying is if we're not going to give James Harden the credit that he deserves, that could James Harden be the top player on the championship team any point in time?
I think he could.
Okay.
Just mainly because I think on the Houston Rockets, if CP3 don't get hurt, that Rockets team wins.
Yeah,
that's me personally.
Who do they beat in the championship?
The 18 Cavs.
2018 Cavs
Okay.
with no Kyrie, they wash them, bro.
Maybe Kyrie would have been healthy.
But James Harden didn't play well in them last two playoff games, even though Chris Paul was hurt. He didn't show up.
Yeah, he didn't play well. I know.
He didn't show up. So, I mean, we got to give him again, accountability. Like, yes, I get it. Your floor general is not there, but that's when you had a game of your life, especially like the way you've been scoring in his career. Like, that's when I am so close where I have to do whatever it takes to carry this team over the top. And I'm not saying the competition wasn't hard, but he didn't show up at all. It's not like he
I
had
agree.
a 50-pointer and it was everything. And, you know, we could look back and say James gave it everything he got.
I agree. I agree with you, J-Rob. We do have to hold him accountable for that. But the question was, can he be a best player on a championship team? Fully healthy with that team with CP3, I think he could have been the best player on that team to win a championship. The main catalyst for them not winning was the injury.
I'm confused at the chat. Somebody said Damian Lillard doesn't have kids. Didn't he have to like miss a game to go to one of his children's births, I believe? Something like that.
He for sure has
Yeah, I'm
children.
pretty sure he has kids.
Yes, twins.
Yeah. I think he had to miss something. I forget what it was.
All right. We have several super chats I want to get to, but first of all, I want to
Maybe
Tyler
that was
Dorsey.
a troll. Good job.
Tyler Dorsey, give me that damn Mavericks jersey, please.
Like,
I've been tweeting
We're
at
gonna
Tyler
be debating
Dorsey.
if Damian Lillard has kids now.
I've been tweeting at Tyler Dorsey for the last week.
We only got 100 likes, so we gotta chill till we get up to like 150.
All right, let me just
we got the
vent then.
Yeah, we gotta chill.
Let me vent.
Chill.
Mars, who else is overrated in life?
All right, Dub.
I was thinking-
I don't know. I don't just, like I said, I don't just start thinking about things that are overrated. I just hear people talk about stuff and then I say that if I think they're overrated or not.
Okay.
Like Damian.
Yeah, we're
Lillard.
still only at
Just
110 likes, so when we hit 150, we can go on to the Nets and Celtic trade discussions.
No, we're doing super
I do
chats.
want to hear your all-time overrated players list. I mean, people list, not even players, people, actors. I don't care. Like political figures, I don't care. Just name me an overrated actor.
Rated actor.
Mars
I
doesn't
don't
watch
many-
television
I
and
don't
movies.
watch many films.
Mars only
Ah,
That's why I
watches.
stayed quiet when you guys were talking about Black
sports.
Panther. I ain't even seen it.
Oh yeah.
So-
You haven't seen Black Panther yet?
No,
The first
I mean,
one?
I don't plan on watching it either, so I
Damn.
have nothing to say about it.
Wow.
But the buzz was huge where you were at though, right?
Yeah, everyone watched it.
What was the consensus? Like just the reception. Did people like it, or were people like, eh?
Yeah, most people that I talk
JD,
to
can you mute
like the film.
Can you mute our audio to the channel until we get 150 likes so we can talk amongst ourselves?
Oh my god.
I'm being dead.
It's muted. It's muted. Here, you guys can hear my voice, but you can't hear anyone else's voice. Damn, that's torture, chat. That's crazy. Yo, Dub, that's crazy. I wish you guys could hear this. Like, only 7 more likes. You guys get to hear Dub being crazy. Yeah. Yes. Should we do? Okay, we hit 150 likes. I was gonna say. All right, they're back on. I was about to say, should I have just done the rest of the show like that, where I get to hear you guys, but they don't?
Yeah, we're coining that the J-Rob rule moving forward for
that.
eternity. That's
Fire.
that move.
I like
The
that. I'm a
J-Rob
fan
rule.
of the J-Rob rule. I like that.
All right,
Look, we got 158. You feel me?
Mhm.
I like that now. We lit.
let's get
That's
these
crazy.
super
Let's get to
chats.
200.
Yeah, let's get to 200. All right, back to mute. All right.
Yeah, let's get
Nick Dawson sent a super chat, asked you a question, Shaq. Shaq, you beating Trey Young in a 1v1?
Probably not. I don't even want to guard Trey Young. I have zero aspirations to guard Trey Young on the
Yeah,
perimeter.
that just looks miserable.
Yeah, that's
I was
a
guarding
nightmare.
LeBron yesterday morning, and I'm looking around like I'm getting too old for this. Imagine Trey Young in front of me.
Chris,
Oh,
Dad,
man.
wait, who
What do you think is worse, being caught on the island or him calling for a high pick and roll?
Island, I feel like I can contest. Pick and roll, I have no chance.
Yeah,
It's too many variables.
yeah.
Chris sent a super chat, said, I know this is off topic right now, but what's y'all top 5 playoff series? No finals of all time.
Okay.
Bro, that's
Miami
way too
versus
much thinking power.
Boston. Braun.
2012.
They won a chip. That was a good one.
The 2016 Western Conference Finals was fun.
There was Warriors and who?
OKC.
Hmm.
I mean, I really enjoyed the Cavs versus Pacers first round 2018. That was a great series.
I'm stuck between. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say OKC Warriors. They were down 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
Came back. That was a good series.
Wasn't D Rose MVP year against Bron in the playoffs? Wasn't that a good series?
Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah,
good.
that was
a
good.
good series.
Joakim Noah went off that series too. Don't
That
know
was a
why I
good
brought
series.
him in the mix, but yeah.
No, that was a good series too.
Joakim Noah going off in a
stuck
series is
between-
crazy.
I mean, going off like for Joakim Noah. Like
So he
was
grabbed
doing
like
his
17
thing.
rebounds?
Nuggets, Clippers in the bubble.
I see.
Bubble
For me,
doesn't count.
so for
Bubble
me,
doesn't count. You need a
and-
crowd.
Oh,
okay,
my
wait. So here's the thing. Wait. Because I was about to
Hold on,
say,
time out.
Nuggets and Jazz. I think that shootout between D. Mitch
yeah.
and
Euro, I
Jamal
was down
Murray.
there too.
That's like the best series I've ever seen, just for the simple fact that like the offensive display and just like the back and forth was crazy. But
how we out here saying a season don't count?
I was just about to ask that. Like, why?
Like,
what
what are
is
we
it?
talking about?
Why is everybody so much on that? The bubble doesn't
I
count.
personally
Wh-
think it's
when
because
LeBron
LeBron
wins,
James won
when-
it.
when
I
LeBron
think
wins,
if
you have to say it
anybody
doesn't
won that,
count.
I think if anybody else won it, I think if the Clippers would have won that, if the
And-
Nuggets would have won it, it would have counted for everybody else. I just don't think it counted because Braun won.
Mars wouldn't
Man.
be
Flat
saying
out.
this if the Warriors won.
Flat out.
Hypocrite.
Yeah, if we won it, 100% counts. but it
Because
doesn't
at the
count.
end of the day, I would argue to anybody that talks about that bubble, the bubble probably was a bit harder.
The bubble
Like,
was
we all went
fire.
through- We all went through COVID, y'all. We was all trapped in the house. We was all confined to our spaces. Like some people's family wasn't there. And then let's be honest, it was like open gym. Everybody knows dudes in the NBA. And when it comes to like open gym runs, Shaq, I know you've probably played with a bunch of guys. Open gym be crazy. Nobody can miss. Everybody's busting out moves. Like, come on.
That was
TJ
very
Warren
open
looked like
gymish.
like TJ Warren and
Oh,
Tyler
yeah.
Hero look crazy. They both
Yeah.
look crazy. Like, let's be
I
honest.
loved it. I loved it.
I thought the bubble
I
was
enjoyed it. It still
zero.
didn't count,
Yeah,
but I
yeah, yeah.
enjoyed it.
it counted.
Feel bad for the
Yeah,
players,
that
though. They
counted.
said it was like mentally just draining.
Draining.
Yeah.
Paul George said he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Told the world that I literally am going. I have depression in here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
My
Crazy.
favorite playoff It's probably gonna be 2018 LeBron James versus the Celtics, just because that was like one of the most like craziest dominant things I've ever seen from LeBron James. My second one is like 1A, 1B. The Sixers versus the Raptors in 2019 in that game 7. Just that whole series was phenomenal, bro.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
All right, Travis
Nah,
Lindsay.
but,
Go ahead, Dub.
but I remember like watching 2018 LeBron just in that whole little tear, bro. That was one of the greatest things to witness. I'm not even gonna lie. That shit was
You are a
amazing
witness.
to watch.
Travis
I was a
Lindsay.
witness to greatness, bro.
Travis
Fuck it.
Lindsay.
Y'all call me a
2018 Brown was a movie.
Y'all
Yo.
call me a LeBron hater. I don't give a damn, bro. That shit was
Yo,
amazing to watch.
Travis Lindsay, everyone up here hates you. Every time I try and read your super chats. Travis Lindsay sent a super
Travis is a
chat.
good
Should Drew Holiday have a max? Important to the Bucks championship run.
Yes.
1,000,000% yes.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Jeremy Barnes sent a super chat. How much better are the Lakers with Thomas Bryant?
I mean, AD
Marv.
don't got to play center, so I think that is a big deal.
He's cool. He doesn't play much defense, so you're just relying on Anthony Davis again when your defense was the problem last year. But he spaces the floor, which I guess you need when you have 3 guys who aren't great shooters. So
Should they build around AD more than LeBron?
I mean, I just think you build for both of them, which is the same thing. AD needs space because he's a scorer at the rim, as much as people would like to claim he's a good jump shooter, which he's not. And LeBron, the same thing. He's a playmaker. He finds open shooters and he finds AD at the rim. They both need shooters.
So do you think those two guys, do you think they're compatible to even build a team? Because obviously we haven't really seen that, and we kind of like mask that by saying, oh, you know what, it's been injuries and everything like that. But like, do you think they can construct a team with AD and LeBron to actually make them competitive?
I mean, yeah, we saw it in 2020. I just think they went too star-oriented in terms of chasing DeMar DeRozan. They didn't get him, and then they went and got Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, and I believe it's because they had Dwight and JaVale. I think those two guys were super instrumental. A lot more credit needs to be given to them than what we are. And they turned around and got rid of them only to get Dwight back, and now they're shipping him out again. Like, what is going on?
Because now because they got Russ, they can't have a non-shooting big, which is they were so good in the playoffs in 2020 because they could run twin towers, have LeBron at the 3, AD at the 4, Dwight or JaVale at the 5, and then against Houston they can run AD at the 5, LeBron at the 4, and go super small. Whereas now they have Russ on the court who can't shoot, AD can't shoot, LeBron's okay.
AD's a career 52% shoots 52% for a career. I don't want to say he's a terrible jump shooter. Unless you care about 3. If you care about 3-point shooting, then that's one thing. But I think in that, inside that free throw line area, I don't think AD's as terrible
at the rim,
as people
he's
say.
great because if I look at his rim percentages, he's like 75%, and then I look outside. I'll get up right now. Pause.
It's pretty. It leaves a lot to be desired.
I don't think he's an incredible shooter. I'm not saying that, but I'm not asking
he
him to shoot a bunch of threes.
He shoots 74% at the rim, and then last year he shot 31% from mid-range.
Yeah, last year he wasn't that great.
The year before that, he was around 38%.
Which is decent for
year before that, he's around 38% again. Then he's 35%.
He just needs to be around 40.
Yeah,
and that's just mid-range.
Right.
Like
that's about right.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about the 3.
Giannis shot 42% from mid-range, and no one's calling.
Yeah, he just needs to be around 40.
Yeah, like he's okay, but you're not calling AD a floor spacer, in my opinion. Unless you play him at the 5, then at the 5 he's a okay shooter, but at the 4,
I wouldn't call AD a floor spacer.
I think Euro kind of hit it on the money. And it wasn't just them. Like, they also lost a lot of defense on the perimeter as well. Bradley not being there, Caruso and them guys, that really helped out. And their main thing that they've been missing ever since they got Russ is defense. And that was the main catalyst for them, winning that chip in 2020. Because LeBron and AD cut shorter the offense while, they were still able to lock in defensively. I really think the solution is the same I've been saying all year and since last year. You got to trade Russ, and you got to get more guys who can defend on the perimeter. I mean,
that team had to get younger. Had to.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, and Russ is, and it's not like a stain on Russ, like he's a bad player, but that contract is just ridiculous. Like you just can't do anything with that. You can't. So you got to get rid of it, and you got to get role players. I think LeBron and AD could win as the 1 and 2 on the championship team. You just get some defenders around them, let them carry the offensive load, and they'll make things happen. But if that contract with Russ, and now we have to discover a fit and everything for those guys, it's too much to handle, bro. It's a headache.
I think it's always going to be hard because at the end of the day, the Lakers, and I think this was kind of incompetence on the Lakers. It's like you're asking a guy in he's about year 13, year 12 to be something he's never been before in his career. You know, him not to control it, but he's led the league in percentage on like just ball control. I can't think of the name of the percentage right now, but holds the ball. Just him and James Harden have been the most in how many times they've had their ball in their hands. So ultimately, you're asking him to play a smaller role, be efficient, and you're kind of not letting him play his game, like usage rate. So I mean, I don't know. Did any of you guys think that was going to work? Like the experiment was going to really work, all three of them playing together? Like
I thought they'd make the playoffs, but I never saw it.
Yeah, I thought they'd make the playoffs, but I didn't think they could win a title. You're asking him to do something that he's never been asked to do in his career.
Yeah, I was skeptical to the point where I couldn't even.
I bet you.
No, you got it.
Go ahead.
No, you got it. I was just saying I was pissed at Russ. I still am.
Why?
Because he chooses not to do things because of ego.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Like what thing?
He can't take a step back just because of what people could say about him. If I'm Russ, I'm saying, I've been maxed my whole career. I need to come off the bench. That's probably better. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. You want me to do this? Let's do this. Now I'm not going to the press conferences and, oh, am I the point guard or this, and that, all of this like ego stuff.
Did you feel the same way about Melo when that was the thing?
That he should have took a back seat? I've always felt like Melo was not like I just always thought he was a pure scorer. And I always felt if he wanted to win, he was going to have to play team basketball. Same with Allen Iverson. Same with James Harden. Even though I feel like James does because he's a point guard and the ball's in his hands most of the time and he can shoot really well. Versus with Russ, it's like, bro, either you have to go to the gym and shoot 1 million shots a day. There's no reason for you not to. I don't get it. He doesn't even have to make 500 a day, just 2 or 3 times a week. It's just selfish, but that's just me though. And then you go in here and say this and that about this and that. Yeah, I'm kind of not jacking it, Russ. I feel like you can be a much better player.
Yeah, like you can't go on TV talking about when everybody's talking about let Russ be Russ and be like, man, y'all know that wasn't a thing. Y'all know they wasn't letting Russ be Russ. You know, I don't know why me and the coach didn't get along. Like there is.
I mean, he does have a point. He does have a
though.
point. If they saying let Russ be Russ, that means something completely different to him because that means give me the ball, everybody get out the way, and that's not going to happen with LeBron. So
yeah, but they let you be Russ, and look what you were doing. Like now they
that's
ask
not.
you to
But that's
commit
not.
to other things.
But that's not letting Russ be Russ.
I don't think Russ should be Russ ever. I didn't like. I've never seen a situation where that was championship basketball.
Yo, Euro, that's not my point. Is it's to, like Shaq said, like he clearly doesn't have a sense of accountability. You can't go in the closing press conferences and air all of that stuff out. You know, like everybody in the organization was tripping except you. That's how I feel about it. Like we all watched the games. We watched the games, yo. We watched you shoot a corner 3 and the entire crypto arena said no. We're screaming, no, don't shoot. Like,
and it's just like Russ being Russ is just very inconsistent. Like, that's Russ. Like, that's just Russ. You just, from game to game, time to time, you never know what you're going to get. You're going to get really high highs and really low lows. And to the chat saying, oh, Shaq said, let Russ be Russ. Yeah, but that was like 6 months, a year ago. Now, when I can assess everything, as we all should do, when we are debating people, we get new information and you see Russ doing or saying certain things. And I'm like, meh, I don't know. it's a little tough because I go back to the highlights from Russ all last season long. I watched it week after week on Undisputed of them clowning on him, which I didn't think was right. But then I sit there and I'm like, God damn, Russ, how? I'm being serious. Like, this is just accountability. You just have to go and get the shots up.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing saying that you're a bad player. You got to go get the freaking shots up. It was the same with Bron. And then Bron had to see the psychologist or the hooping guru that told him, hey, you need to shoot you need to have 500 makes from 3 every night, and you need to watch yourself make 500 shots. It was some weird combination like that with a psychologist with LeBron. And I think that was before his Miami season when he shot a 40 clip. And of course, as you know, hard to do because Bron does so much. But he did it then.
So you don't think that Russ ever was trying to improve that part of his game?
No, I've never seen a situation where I can never take a shooter just because I play and I see other shooters and my shooting has increased over the years of my professional career, so I know what it takes to hit those type of shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you gotta be in there at least minimum an hour a day shooting on the gun.
Like what does it take specifically? Like, is it actually like you seeing the ball go through the net? Is it repetition? Is it like
repetition and see both, but just knowing like I've been in here all day. Like now I don't care because I know I put the work in. So now the pressure's down. Whereas in if you haven't shot a 3, if you haven't shot set shots in 2 weeks because you guys are traveling and this and that, whatever it may be, and then you go in a game and it's clutch or something like that, and you're just chucking it at the rim 24/7. How? So you think shooters outside of Steph were just born to be shooters?
It's repetition.
Really look at shooters. They miss a fucking lot, but they just shoot the most when the game before and after practice. So they're more reliable.
There is
but
a talent
think of a shooter.
component.
It's a confidence.
there is a talent? I think.
From what standpoint?
I
for
think
me-
depth
ahead.
perception and coordination is something that not everyone has to a high degree.
That's-
Like, I don't think
that's
no matter
NBA.
how much Shaq shoots, he's ever going to be a good shooter. Like there's
That's
some talent
that's
component to shooting.
I would more so.
1000%.
I
But
would
if
more
Shaq
so.
would have grew up shooting threes
Right.
from when he was 10, 11, 12, and he
Right.
still grew to be 7 feet tall, he would be a good shooter.
This is what I was about to say. I think it's more so about like how early in your basketball career are you closer to the finished product of like your proper shooting technique, like the mechanics of it, right? Because because like when you start really, really young or whatever, you could be a good shooter. Let's say like you're 8 years old or something like that, right? And you're a good shooter, but everybody's shooting a push shot because you're not strong enough to actually get to the rim with it. And so then, once once you get a little bit stronger, whatever, it's up on the coach and it's up to the parent to really say, we're not doing that push shot shit no more. Like if you shooting a jump shot and it's a push shot, that shit don't count. You know what I mean? Like it really is on the parent to like drive that home. And a lot of people, or a coach, and a lot of people don't do that. And so then your mechanics are off because all the kids that weren't good shooters that were shooting a push shot, now they develop their actual shooting form, right? Much earlier. And so now they have years or like months or whatever, you know what I mean? Of that, like you said, that repetition, that something that in your early stages of your life, when you develop or whatever, that becomes a normal motion. It becomes much more natural than somebody who says, you know what, I'm going to continue to shoot my push shot until I'm like 12, 13. And
but you stop at a point when you realize
stop
you're not
at a
making
point.
the shots. You stop and you go to other things. The only point that I'm alluding to that there is some great space for guys that are like, okay, if Shaq shot free throws for an hour every day before practice, he would be a better free throw shooter. I don't know by how much, but he would be a better free throw shooter. But nobody's about to sit here and tell me that every single day Shaq shot 100 free throws. That's just common knowledge.
And then hold on, and in the chat it says something about LaMelo and his like shooting mechanics. Of course, there's like always exception to the rules. I think there's great shooters like
Sean
Reggie
Marion.
Miller who has an absolute unorthodox shooting technique and stuff. And I guess
Sean
that
Marion.
rings true. Sean Marion, yeah.
Marion.
I mean, but the thing is, I think Sean Marion, I wouldn't consider him a good shooter. He was a very reliable.
He shot a
shooter,
lot though.
He shot,
Shot a
but-
lot with that goofy ass chest
I also
pass.
do think if you put the work in, you can fix your mechanics. Because if we're gonna talk about LaMelo, let's talk about his brother.
He's Alonzo, and they were
his
on his
brother
head
came in
about
shooting
that.
like this,
he
and
came
then-
he came across body, right?
Mhm.
And that was because, at one point, like, we know why he shoots across the body is because if somebody gets up in his chest or whatever, when he was younger,
on that
he
gun.
wasn't able to get the shot off because they would just be
Right.
able to block him. So he had to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Put the ball where they couldn't reach it. And he
Here's
kind of
the-
developed
here's
that,
the-
and they never changed it.
right.
Here's the thing for me. Every good shooter I've seen shoots a lot. They shoot nonstop, whether it's before or after practice. They make a lot and they shoot a lot of threes when not during practice when the team is there, when it's just by themselves. Hell, watching Zach LaVine work out before he went to UCLA with his dad in the gym, they shot a lot of threes. And his form was always beautiful and everything like that. Like he could always, I guess, naturally shoot, but he still shot a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta put the reps up in order to be a good 3-point shooter because it's mainly muscle memory. You feel me? It's like second nature. And then
Really,
on
it's
top of that,
mainly
the-
confidence.
I
I mean, the
was just
mechanics.
about to
the
say that.
mechanics.
The mental aspect
Here's the
of
thing.
it as well.
Here's the thing. You could shoot all day, every day, whatever. But if you don't have the confidence, you're just not going to be a good shooter. What it takes is you have to combine the two. Like Shaq said, all of that. You have to do all of that. That is the prerequisite. And then it's game time. It's all confidence. Once you miss the first two or first three, you better have short-term memory and you are still slinging that thing because you know that you can hit it.
Yeah.
You're just, that's the first three. Big deal. I got three more or 4 more shots. I'm going to hit the next 3 out of 4, whatever it is. But yeah, it's mostly a confidence thing. All right,
And
moving on.
JD's a shooter.
Sling.
He's not a shooter. He's the shooter.
Eric
Right, Jay?
Duda. Eric Dupree said to Super Chat, said, who had the better final series as the number 2? Kobe 2000, Powell 2010, Wade 2012, Middleton 2021, Wiggins 2022.
Not the
Pau
last two.
Gasol, Pau Gasol.
I'll go with
Yeah.
Powell.
I go with Powell too.
2020 was the first time they went to the finals, right?
You
I
talking
mean,
about-
not 2020. 2000 was the first time Kobe and Shaq went to the finals,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm going Powell.
I'll go Powell. I'll go Powell.
Hit 44 sent a Super Chat, said it's simple. Harden just has to show up in playoffs and not choke again. Then no one will care if he's fat. Travis Lindsay, my comment was about Draymond Max. Going back to, I don't know what he was talking about. Thank you for the Super Chat, though. Assists. Is it fair to label KD as a passive player? He averages less shots than Russ and Curry, but he's clearly the best scorer on the team. I can't think of another top 25 player to sit back and not demand the ball.
He's very passive.
I mean, in Golden State, he just played within the system. I wouldn't say he was passive. I mean, he was aggressive when we needed him to be.
He's efficient as hell. Doesn't need as many shots as most people.
But his time in playing with Russ, he was very passive as well.
I mean, Russ
that's
just
what-
controls when KD
say-
gets the ball.
Yeah, I'm saying Russ was the point guard though.
I don't know. I think KD has always been. I wouldn't say he was like the main thing. He was just like passive guy, but I think he was passive like in a lot of the scenarios. in my
Last year when
opinion.
we saw him with the Nets, last year when he was a size 16 away from going to the finals, to the Eastern Conference Finals, did you think he was passive?
Oh, nah. Like that's the thing. I think Mars hit it on the money. It's like I think KD can flip that switch on. Like he was not passive in that series at all. He went out there to go get a bucket, do his thing. But I don't think we've seen that a lot of the times. In my opinion, I haven't. I could be wrong about that, but I haven't seen that a lot of times with KD where he's like, "Nah, I'm grabbing this thing and I'm gonna make this happen.
I
I'm gonna
watched
win
him
on my back."
I watched him in back-to-back finals shoot a dagger to close out Braun twice. Like I don't know. I'm not willing to
I'm
call him
mainly
passive.
I'm mainly highlighting his OKC years though.
Okay.
That's what I'm mainly highlighting. After that, he was pretty fun, but his mainly OKC years with Russ, I think he was somewhat passive.
Passive in Oklahoma City and won an MVP.
I'm
That's
not
pretty crazy.
Yeah, but J-Rob, I'm not giving KD the pass for being aggressive with the Monstars. I can't do that. Now, do I feel like
I
KD
hear you.
is passive? No, I don't. I feel like he gets to his spots and he just lets it go, and he makes a lot of them. So I don't think you can be called passive because you make a lot of your shots.
Right.
Because if he missed a lot and kept shooting, we would say he's definitely not passive.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen him, not be passive, but I guess we've seen him be passive too.
Mr.
Do
Hale,
you see? Do you see more success in KD's individual play and also in his team play if he was to simply just shoot more?
No, I think he needs to be in a situation where he could get to his spots and not have the brunt of everything be relied on him.
I agree.
Like Kyrie is like that, but with the Nets, it's really hard to be like that as a guard because there's too many inconsistencies. Versus a big man, they're around the basket, you got a higher chance of the ball going through the net. KD needs somebody like a Joel Embiid that he can rely on. Every time I give it to you in the paint, you're getting a bucket or you're getting fouled, and you can slow the game down, stop the game, and you can help space the floor. I mean, I'm not about to get started on the KD thing, but Joel Embiid would be a great fit with him.
Mr. Hale asked, is Dame better than Jimmy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievably.
James Simple sent a super chat, said, let JD speak. Thank you, Simp. Dominic Thompson, can the Mavs make another run to the Western Conference Finals this year? Ugh. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I would love to.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I would love to. It all just depends on health. Having Kawhi out all year definitely helped, but that's tough.
I don't think it's impossible.
It's not
Luka
impossible.
Doncic on that team.
Not impossible at all. I mean, I would love to see it, but
I'd say Luka Doncic is
That's a
definitely
nice-
on that team.
If he gets
That's a
bounced
new
by
nice benchmark.
if he gets bounced
Make
by
the Western Conference Finals.
I
Then
mean,
you're all of a sudden a cool guy.
They
Yeah,
are
we really-
they are giving out a trophy for it.
And an
That's
MVP.
facts.
They are.
And
Are
You
we,
got to
MVP.
win it though.
are we really running things through the Clippers now? Like, are we really back
I'm
on
not
this?
jacking.
I would say, are we
No.
really
I-
jacking Clippers
no.
now? Like, are we
No.
really about to be on this?
No.
Like,
I'm
the-
I
worried.
wasn't jacking them then.
No, I agree. I just feel like one thing about the Clippers is they have not got it done at no point, even when they have both of them together. Like, I mean,
Brooklyn
when,
Nets
like,
2.0.
I'm only
yeah,
going
when all of a
off.
sudden was everything running through the Clippers.
I'm only going off the fact that the Mavs couldn't get through them when they had a healthy Kawhi. So I haven't seen them do it with healthy Kawhi yet. So
Right,
Can
feel
I
you.
ask a question about which duo is better, Kawhi and Paul George or KD and Kyrie?
We don't know anything about KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, they
It's-
only
it's-
got one playoff series together, bro. I mean, two actually with the Celtics.
So
I can't make an assumption off.
Yeah,
that.
I don't know how-
But
I
it's
don't know how to
not
answer
just
that.
but it's
no,
not
no,
it's not just
you
the
guys
playoff
made
series.
assumptions. You guys made assumptions before they got there. And I'm not talking to you, Euro, but Dub, you made assumptions this whole time that they were going to win a championship before you didn't know what was the
Well,
problem.
I still think
coming
that. I still
alive.
think that.
And
I
you
still
still
think
think that. So when I ask you who's the better duo, and then Euro says we don't know enough about them, and then you all of a sudden just say, yeah, and start agreeing, you never knew enough about them, and you thought they were going to win Super Bowls, championships, World Series.
James Harden. Well, James Harden was a part of that. Shaq, you're forgetting that, and that was the main reason of that as well. So it was James Harden, Kyrie, and KD. So that's why I assume that they will win no matter what. It wasn't just Kyrie and KD.
After
I
James
feel-
Harden got traded without Ben Simmons, you're going to sit here and tell me that you didn't say that the Nets were going to win a championship.
I was nervous. I said if I put money, I would say the Nets, but I wasn't 100% confident.
So I'm
in that.
just
I wasn't
asking a
as,
question.
I wasn't as confident I was in saying that James Harden, Kyrie, and KD will win a championship.
But we don't even have to be in this moment. I just said a simple 2v2 Euro context bend, and he whipped you in the process. All I asked was Kawhi and Paul George, are they a better duo than KD and Kyrie? What does that have to do with where we're at now? Dub, this didn't have to go here.
This
And
didn't
then
have to go here.
it's
I don't
posters
know.
everywhere saying
I
you're
don't know
winning
because-
shows and doing things.
Shaq, relax. Shaq, just
I'm
relax.
sorry. I'm sorry,
Just
Dub. I'm
relax.
sorry.
Just
I was just
apologize
asking a
for-
question.
No. Just relax for a little bit. It's okay.
It's fine.
When I was thinking about the context of this question, and I
Binky
have
in his
to,
mouth.
my whole understanding of this question was basically if we're gonna rate them due to what they have done. So in my head, I'm like, all right, Kyrie and KD didn't really play with each other like that compared to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So I can understand why people would say that duo was better. If I had to be like, yo, which duo I'm taking, KD or Kyrie? I mean, KD and Kyrie or Paul George and Kawhi. I'm picking KD and Kyrie every single time.
I'm taking Steph Curry and Andre
But
Iguodala.
I didn't think that was the context of the question. I thought we were just weighing in on what they did together. And we all know that Kyrie and KD was mainly Kyrie, James Harden, and KD, but they only had what 2 postseasons together.
I would love to see KD and Kyrie with a head coach that they actually respect.
They asked for Steve Nash.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, I just think Steve Nash, yeah, but that's my issue with Steve Nash, Mars, is I think Steve Nash was really out there like, can y'all just figure this out for me? Like, you remember that time when he hugged Kevin Durant and like put his head on his chest, like, thank you. Like, thank you for figuring this out for me. I just think when they played Boston, it was very clear that they were completely outcoached through that series. So, and unfortunately, that was foreshadowed. That was a foreshadowing on the wall. I mean, yo, I'm sorry. When you got a player that says, I don't really think we have a head coach, and he's conducting
Who would be
second
this
practice.
coach?
Shit, I would want to see him with Larry Brown. If they had Larry Brown, I think they would be a better team.
Larry Brown.
I think Larry Brown, they'd be a better team.
I don't think
Mark
Kyrie
Jackson,
Irving's
they'd
on
be
the
a better
team. I'm with you, but I don't think Kyrie Irving is on the team if Larry Brown is the coach. That's
I
the
agree
problem.
with that too.
Okay, I could agree
Now
with that.
Ty
Too.
Lue is the only one that I
Ty
think
Lue
it
as
would
well.
work with.
I know. I actually
Because he has
don't disagree
history.
with that. I don't
I
disagree.
think somebody like Monty, he could do something with them.
Or
Monty
Monty.
too.
Yeah,
Monty could
or
be
Monty.
good too. Like, you got to just have
Alvin
like,
Gentry.
Alvin
There's a
Gentry.
couple guys. There's
Mark
a couple
Jackson,
guys.
like Mark Jackson, I think. Would be
No, I don't think so.
you don't think so?
You
Is there any
Nah.
black coaches that we're missing?
Wait, why not Mark Jackson? I actually thought I
Like, yo,
Mark Jackson.
Quinn Snyder's
what's-
out the door. Is no chance.
What's
Nah,
is Willie Green? Would Willie Green be? Would you think? Would you rather have Steve Nash or Willie Green?
I'd rather have
I'm-
any coach in the NBA over Steve Nash.
Thank you,
Thank
Mars.
you.
That's
I don't
just
want
Steve's
Steve
trash.
Nash. I
Yeah.
don't want Steve.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
want Steve.
But
Like,
he's a true rookie though. He's a true rookie coach. He we was talking about Spoelstra way a couple episodes ago when we were talking about Steve Nash being the coach for the Nets, and like Spoelstra, I made the point that even his first like coaching gig, you know what I mean? Of course, they got to go through the ranks as assistants and everything like that. But even before he became the assistant, this guy was in the video room. You know what I'm saying? So he'd been doing his thing. And from a coaching perspective, of course, Steve Nash is an all-time great player and everything like that. He has, crazy basketball mind, his playmaking, whatever, But in terms of like the X's and O's, he has done zero. And for him, zero. And for him to be put in that situation, I mean, it's 100% the coaching issue, but it's 100% the ownership's fault or whoever put this guy, in that position.
I mean, it was clear that they were trying. My bad, Doug. Go ahead.
No, you can finish. I just have a question for Euro after that.
No, I agree. Like, I definitely feel like at the end of the day, the Nets left Jersey. They went to Brooklyn. I think they were under new ownership with Khan. And I think the Steve Nash move, even though like it was cool for the players, I think they also like the move because they're trying to build this franchise. They don't really have much of a fan base because they're not in New Jersey anymore. So I don't think Steve Nash was only picked to be the head coach out of we think he can help us lead a championship. I do think they also picked him because he looked good on the bench.
Yeah.
He looks good to represent the organization.
So, Euro, you said that
Tough.
you don't think Mark Jackson could be the coach of that team.
No, I don't think Mark Jackson and his style and what we know of him and Kyrie would be a good fit. Like they would bump heads from the first day.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
I just wanted to ask a question about Steve Nash because we go back to the couple episodes ago. We were talking about players that could be coaches, and you guys seem to like gravitate towards the high IQ guys, good playmakers. I mean, Steve Nash is the epitome of someone
I
who's
guess he was
high
fooling
IQ,
us
Right.
all.
good playmaker,
And
good
so,
leader on the
right.
court, but he's the opposite of a good coach.
Let me answer that.
Everybody's
could-
not supposed to be a coach.
Right. Let me answer that though. I think if he hadn't coached the Brooklyn Nets, he definitely
The
would have been in that
Warriors.
conversation. I would
Super Nash.
definitely lean towards like, yeah, Steve Nash is one of those guys that I would consider a coach. But here's
sure.
the thing. We're not also talking about like, all right, like, who is going to be the guy that has no coaching experience whatsoever and then try to make something happen, like, by making something happen, we're talking about winning a championship. You know what I mean? So that's not exactly where I was coming from when I made all those statements or whatever. I'm talking about who will be a good coach, and that can mean who could be a good coach eventually. Like,
If
they
Steve-
have to develop.
If
Steve Nash was just dropped in hot water.
If he was
So
if
do
he
you
was an
see a
assistant
coach in
coach, if
Steve
he was
Nash
an
at any
assistant
point?
coach
'Cause I don't.
anywhere, if he was an assistant coach anywhere for however many years and then became head coach, he would be far
Be
better
way
off
better.
because he gets
I
to
mean,
actually
he was
see
working
it.
for the Warriors. He wasn't an assistant coach, but he was working like behind the scenes. He worked.
He
with
should have
KD and
stayed.
Steph all
He
the
should have
time.
stayed there.
Who?
Yeah,
Nah,
he should have stayed in Golden State. He probably would have been Super Steve by now.
Yo,
Here's the
they
problem.
handed him a role. yo.
What
They
was his
handed
job
it to
again?
him.
What was his job again? I forgot it.
I think he was like shooting coach,
I
right?
think he was a shooting coach. Yeah, he was always working with Steph, KD. I think maybe that's why KD gave him the recommendation, because I guess he was good with the players. I don't know.
Now KD wants out.
No, I think that was for sure why Steve Nash was there.
Tough. Bomber Link.
Oh
thank
wait,
you for the super
Mars,
chat.
I want to hear your Kawhi and Paul George or KD and Kyrie.
I mean, I'm taking
To build
Kawhi and Paul
around.
George, but that's A, I like two defensive wings who can both score, and B, I think Kawhi is the best player of all four of them, and I think Paul George is better than Kyrie. So just on a talent level, I think I'm taking those guys anyway.
You think Kawhi Leonard is the best player of the four of them?
Yes.
Kawhi
At
Leonard is
this-
better than Kevin Durant right now?
The last I saw of Kawhi versus the Kevin Durant I've seen since he left Golden State, I'm taking Kawhi.
Hold on, Mars. Because you
Wait, let
said
him
the
think.
last time
I
you saw
think-
Clay
Let
I
Thompson.
think-
Mars get this off.
Hold on, Mars.
Muting
I
my
think
mic.
it's very interchangeable.
TikTok is waiting.
Mars. Mars, the
Yes.
last time you said, I can't rank Clay Thompson from the last time that I saw him and
I
blah, blah,
remember
blah,
that.
whatever.
Yeah, and
remember
I
that.
said, and I
No,
said,
Mars
I
said-
even
he
said
said-
Kawhi. I said it's different for Kawhi because it was 1 year. Clay Thompson is 2019. 3
Mars
years.
walks it
say
back.
that. I
Yeah,
did say that was a
He
difference.
explains
All
his
right.
inconsistencies
I
when
was-
they're
I-
outside one.
That was
I
not.
did
That
say
was.
This
You
team-
That was
know
not
KD,
inconsistent.
you know
That was
KD
not
averaged 29.9. He averaged 30 this season.
I know what KD did. He's
Averaged
a very good, he's a
37
very good
and
basketball
6.
player.
With
Very good
one steal
basketball
and
Hey,
player.
one
Mars, you
block.
know Kevin Durant's on TikTok now.
He's a very good basketball player.
So
But
you
you said the
don't-
last time you saw, he said the last time you saw Kawhi
Yes,
Leonard.
I think Kawhi Leonard is. I think him and KD are very close. I think it's interchangeable, but I'll lean towards Kawhi.
Based off what though? Is what I'm
Um,
saying. Like based off what? Like most people are not going to agree with that take because like we ain't really seen Kawhi Leonard in a, like. I need you to explain yourself. I'm sorry. I just need to understand where you're coming from
Based
because
on
I
their
just
laugh.
don't understand based off what you've seen that says Kevin Durant is not as good of a player as Kawhi Leonard.
I don't think I think both of them need a playmaker to elevate their game. Neither of them are going to be your primary playmaker. So I think they're similar in that regard. I think as scorers in the playoffs, they are very comparable. I wouldn't say I'm taking Kawhi. I think they're just very like 1A, 1B in terms of scores in the playoffs. And then if I'm looking at the other side of the ball, Kawhi is clearly a more valuable defender. So
You think he's still going to be a valuable defender after
compared
he'll be 30?
compared to KD, he's a more valuable defender.
But Kevin
yes.
Durant ain't never been. That's the problem though. Kevin Durant ain't never been asked to be no